Hello, cats and kittens. Mama Cat Gamer here. Hope you all are well. Haven't been able to record in the last week because last Monday, and this is Sunday as I'm recording this, last Monday our kitty Piper passed away and went to heaven. So that was a sad day for us. And I hope you get to treasure your pets because their time on this world isn't as long as ours. And we need to treasure them when we have them. We still have Jake. Jake is the one who comes and visits us all the time. And my puppy Mara, who's 10 years old, she's not a puppy anymore. Somebody joked about us having a geriatric home for pets because all of our pets are older. I've heard some rumblings about getting another cat, so I don't know. We might bring a kitten into the house or cat. Not sure yet. We're going to see how everybody feels for a while. Anyway, on to the gaming part. I did want to do a few things today. I want to continue on the MSQ, of course. I need to pilot this Magitech armor to East End and destroy the Garlean drones. We're going to do that. We're going to continue to lie best served with cold steel. Lie in wait for Imperial soldiers. And I want to unlock a few more job quests. Or unlock a few more jobs, not job quests. Although we'll have job quests to do. I think I want to unlock... Let's go unlock our summoner. Or Arcanist. I'm also going to unlock Scholar as we do this, because it's... If you level Summoner, and you have Scholar unlocked, it will unlock both at the same time. So as you're leveling one, the other levels with you, which is great, because I don't like playing healers, and I really want to have one healer to 100 if I can, without having to work too hard at it. Welcome to the Arcanist Guild. It is here that we research and develop the field of Arcanima. Arcanima is the science of employing arcane geometries, intricate patterns that map the unlocked mysteries of existence to draw forth and manipulate the body's etheric energies. If you prefer an arcane art built on structured thought and precise reasoning, then your discerning intellect might find a home here at our guild. Might you consider enrolling yourself as an initiate? Yeah. Aha! Just as I predicted. Before we proceed any further, however, let us first feed your appetite for knowledge with a morsel of guild history. The roots of Arcanima can be traced back to the esoteric calculations practiced by the people of the South Sea Isles. It was these island folk that first discovered a method to express natural phenomena in mathematical terms. Building on this process, the existing mathematical formulae were further developed into arcane geometries, precise patterns that allowed a practitioner to weave ether into specific magical effects. The mages who invoked this new form of magic became known as Arcanists, and the school of Arcanima was born. Many such mages, wishing to expand their understanding of the world, took to the seas aboard trading vessels. Upon their arrival in Limsa, Arcanists found themselves welcomed into the academic elite and soon secured positions in the realms of governance and council. The knowledge of an Arcanist, however, is traditionally passed on from master to chosen disciple. As such, Admiral Muralvib, counting several wielders of Arcanima among her personal staff, became concerned that this exclusionary practice would lead to the eventual extinction of the... Hold on. Eventual extinction of the art. So, at the Admiral's express orders, an official Arcanist Guild was established and funding was provided for research and training. The complex and demanding nature of Arcanima, however, remains the greatest threat to its own future. If you invite such cerebral challenges, then you have but to reaffirm your commitment to joining our guild. Alright, well, have you decided to enroll in our guild, or are you now intimidated by the thought of excessive thinking? Okay. Miri wishes you to reaffirm your desire to join the Arcanist Guild. Yes, your sound judgment is to be commended. Now, practice standard. Let me start that over again. Your sound judgment is to be commended. Now, standard practice dictates that I introduce you to our guildmaster that you might convey your intentions in person. Due to extraordinary circumstances, however, he is unreachable at the present. Instead, you may speak with Mistress Thubergeim. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Thubergeim. She has shouldered full responsibility for the guild's leadership in the interim. You will find her just over there by the bookshelves. You needn't be shy, though her mind is sharp and critical. Her manner is almost always most welcoming. Not almost always, it is always most welcoming. Okay. Yes, I am Thubergeim. Greetings and welcome to the Arcanist Guild. As Murray has doubtlessly explained, I am serving as acting guildmaster until our wayward leader deigns to return. I assume our capable receptionist also spoke of our art's origins? Yes, at length. Allow me then to expound upon its nature. No! I had enough history today. Arcanima taps into the living energies of ether. The evidence of this is represented most aptly, perhaps by our ability to manifest the arcane entity Carbuncle and the manner of magic which this ethereal ally employs at our command. The core of the discipline, however, is found in the pursuit of definitive solutions to any potential quandary. Even on the field of battle, nay, especially on the field of battle, this principle takes precedence. If one wishes to make certain the question of victory, then one must apply the most effective strategy. An arcanist is measured by his ability to calmly analyze a situation from moment to moment and respond with the most appropriate spells at hand. The study of Arcanima will test your mental faculties to the point of perplexity. Are you prepared to reason your way through predicament after predicament? You know how hard that is to read out loud, Thubergeim? Are you prepared to reason? Yes. An unambiguous response, the kind I most prefer. Let us now see if the clarity of your words is matched by the sharpness of your mind. Here, take this grimoire in hand, and we shall next judge your aptitude for our discipline. Arcanist is unlocked, yes. My son overheard me and said, if the history major has had enough history, you know it's bad. Nice. All right, we have to... What do we have to do here? Oh, now I'm naked. Let's put some clothes on. Acting Arcanist, or acting Guildmaster Thubergeim, wishes to judge your aptitude for Arcanimo. It is a hefty tome, is it not? I promise you, a grimoire's weight becomes a comforting anchor amidst the shifting seas of battle, a fact you will soon discover. In Lower Lenosia, you will find, among others, 3 species of pest, wharf rats, little ladybugs, and Aureliae. I ask that you employ your fledgling skill in Arcanima to eradicate 3 of each type of creature. Leave the city through the Tempest Gate, and you will soon encounter the potential targets in abundance. As long as you remain focused, I do not foresee these opponents causing you or your budding abilities undue difficulty. Once you return from completing this preliminary trial, I will welcome you as an official member of the Arcanist Guild. May your judgment remain swift and clear. So we gotta go to the Tempest Gate. Put our hunting log on. on here too. So we got to get ladybugs, wharf-rats, lambs, wind sprites. Yeah. So nice. I mean, the items we have to get, I think, count towards our hunt log too. Ooh, I get summon Carbuncle. Okay. You can now summon a pet to do your bidding. You only have access to one pet now, but there will be opportunities to acquire many more as you continue your adventures. Cast the spell Summon from your hotbar to complete the Arcane Pact. I keep my summons down here because they aren't immediately needed. And so I don't need them on my main hotbar. Once your pet is summoned, a fixed hotbar known as a pet hotbar will appear in addition to your regular hotbars. This is yours may be in a different spot. I've moved mine down here. So I have away, heal, place. That orders the pet to move to a specified location. Stay. That orders it to remain where it is. Guard. It orders your pet to refrain from attacking until you attack or are attacked. And steady. Order pet to refrain from attacking until ordered to do so. All right. All right. Frees up your normal hotbars for your personal actions. The guard command orders your pet to guard his master, refraining from attacking until you attack or are attacked. The steady command orders your pet to refrain from attacking until you specifically order him to do so. The away command orders your pet to leave the battlefield. Usually you don't want this because you lose like a bunch of your skills if you don't have your pet out. Pet orders and actions can also be set to your other hotbars by selecting them from the Pet tab under Orders in the Actions and Traits menu. The default is P for your skills and actions and traits. All right. Like I sneeze and I gain XP. There you go. So I got Radiant Aegis out of that, which is creates a barrier around yourself and absorbs damage totaling 20% of your maximum HP. That's nice. All right, now I got Physic, which is restores target's HP. Now we gotta go get Aurelie. Which are up around here. I have so many XP boosting items. I'm going to go to Middle-Lenosia because I want to go get those lost lambs. While I actually can benefit from the XP. This is the legendary Kami. Not sure how to pronounce that exactly. It's a really nice piece of music. You know, I didn't think about picking up, Marauder while I was at it, because we probably could have killed the same things. We're level 5 already. Okay. Pretty sure I got higher level gear. I know that wedding... My goodness, why does it say that is better than these rings? That's strange. I'm gonna pick up a tank class too. I'm not really into tanking. I much prefer DPS over anything else. But tanking in this game can be kind of fun, and it's always nice to pick up another role, basically, so you can fill in gaps in the group. I see the creatures beyond the city walls pose you little threat. It is with great pleasure, then, that I formally recognize your initiation into the guild. From this day forth, you may proudly bear the title of Arcanist. I suggest you continue your forays into the wilderness and keep the pages of your grimoire turning. There is no finer teacher than the harsh mistress of experience. And when you feel that you can command Carbuncle as easily as you might move your own limbs, return to me for further instructions. I will be waiting. Alright, the next Arcanist quest will be available from her when reaching level 5. I want to eat food before I accept that and get that 3% extra buff. Okay. Actually, it didn't give me any extra. Okay. Acting Guildmaster Thubergeim wishes to assess the improvement for your Arcanima skills. Ah, Gav, isn't it? Are you eating well? An empty stomach distracts the mind and leads to hurried judgment. I must oft remind my Arcanists to take meals. So ensconced do they become in their studies. Speaking of such, have you been practicing your tactics with Carbuncle? I believe it is time to assess the improvement of your skills. As with your previous trial, I would have you defeat foes in Lower Lenosia, 3 wild dodos and 3 tiny mandragoras, to be precise. Watch carefully the behavior of your opponents, formulate an effective strategy, and utilize your arcane entity to its fullest potential. I expect you back in time for dinner. Okay, let's go to the Marauders Guild and pick up a tank. I have... my Bard is 92 or 93, my Reaper's level 100, and my Dragoon is level 76-ish. I don't know why I went to Half Castle when I should go to the Marauders Guild. And so I went, I need something else to level. Blauthoda. No idea if I'm pronouncing these right. Ho there, adventurer. Curious about the Marauders Guild, are you? Any axe worth wielding needs 2 hands on the haft and has a blade what can chop clean through a galley's mast. That's the kind of weapon our members train to use with deceptive swiftness and brutal force. If you're of a mind to make the Marauder's art your life's work, then our guild welcomes you with open arms. What say ye, lad? Keen to join the ranks? Yes. Well then, here's a bit of guild history, so you know what you're getting into. It all started with ships, you see. What have ships got to do with axes, you ask? Well, building them would be pretty bloody difficult without a sturdy tool to lop down trees for timber. And since only the navigator herself knows when a ship will run afoul of a storm or worse, it makes sense for the crew's carpenter to carry an axe on board. But any tool on a ship can become a weapon, and the axe is perfect for hooking yourself over the rail of an enemy vessel, letting loose in a whirl of steel, and generally laying waste to all about you. As more seafarers took up the axe as their weapon of choice, so did the bloody art of the Marauder begin to take shape, especially among pirates, where strength and skill decided your place in the world. With an eye to assembling crews of battle-ready raiders, the pirates started teaching the proper way to wield a chopping blade to their new recruits, and that's how the Marauders Guild first came to be. After the Galadian Accord was signed, though, the Marauders Guild was never the same. It was taken over, restructured, and purged of its pirate elements. It had been reborn as an institution dedicated to naught but teaching of axe fighting. The members of this new Marauders Guild ain't no greed-driven cutthroats neither. They were warriors what sought to use their martial prowess for the good of society. Still keen, are you? Think it over and let me know if you decide to join our ranks. Lauthodo wishes you to reaffirm your desire to join the Marauders Guild. You've decided then? You're ready to join the Marauders Guild? Alright then. All that needs doing now is speak with the Axemaster himself. Sounds simple? I've seen folks slink out the door rather than put themselves in the path of that unnerving glare. That's the bloke right there in the middle of the room. Vernzoon's his name. Put some steel in your spine and look him straight in the eye when you talk to him, lad. Good fortune to you. Just toss him to the sharks. Yes, I am Vernzoon. Axemaster, they call me. Not the most imaginative of titles, I agree, but one should not underestimate the value of directness. I welcome your interest in our guild. The art of the Marauder is used to rend, to cleave, and to destroy. It is not our way to simply outfight our adversaries. We seek to overwhelm them. A Marauder must be the most powerful and enduring presence on the battlefield. You must account for the most enemies defeated. Our role in combat is that of a steel whirlwind, dealing death and destruction without equal. No doubt the question has already been put to you by Lauthoda. But once more shall I challenge your commitment. Are you prepared for the bloody carnage that awaits an initiate of the Marauders Guild? Yeah. Are you prepared for carnage? Yes. Very well, your name? Attend me well then, Gav. Hold fast to this moment of dedication. The path of the Marauders, a jagged and perilous one. The blood that spills at your feet will oftentimes be your own. I present to you this axe as a symbol of your commitment. Your first lesson shall be how to hold it. Now grip the haft with both hands and set yourself in a solid stance. Marauder turns into warrior, and it's one of the easiest tanks to know. I leveled up as a summoner there. Alright, Axemaster Vernzoon would have you test the edge of your axe in combat. Aye, you cut a striking figure, Gav, but heroic posing is unlikely to cut a swath through your enemies. Heroic posing. You stand now as a student of the axe. Let us waste no time in testing the edge of your chosen weapon. Ye shall wade straight away into combat, as befits a novice of our discipline. Go forth and slay the bleeding, scurrying, crawling pests that plague the outskirts of Limsa. Lost lambs, wharf rats, and little ladybugs shall be your piteous adversaries this day. Return to me once 3 of each creature have fallen to your blade. Alright, let's go do this first. We're gonna go to Middle Lenosia, Zephyr Gate. We'll do these and then I'll come back. Pick up the level 5 quest. Alright, we gotta get another ladybug. Oh, we need one more ladybug. Okay. Oh, we learned Maim. Okay. We have Heavy Swing and Maim. Poor lambs. Alright, let's fly back. Turn this end in. Maybe we can kind of do these together in the same area. Oh, I wanted to advance my Fisher quest too. Because I've been fishing and ocean fishing in particular, I want to be able to boost my score. And I need to turn in some fish to get that done. Alright, I have trouble with Rugged names. I just don't get how to pronounce them. And I know there's a pronunciation guide, probably in the official forums. Probably all over the internet, for that matter. There's our peer forums that get into the lore really heavily, which is kind of fun. I can do the Elizan ones because I took French for so many years. Oui, je parle français. You're returned to me a different man. Already your face shows a harder cast, a realization of the slaughter of which you are capable. But there is much learning to be done before you will wield the axe to its fullest potential. Learn well your lessons, build your strength, and make of each swing an instinctive act. Every blow of your weapon shall clear another step towards the mastery of the Marauder way. Implacable, relentless. Such must be your momentum on both the practice grounds and the battlefield. Alright. Axemaster Vernzun wishes you to experience a traditional Marauder training method. If you approach me with a Marauder's strides, determined, unswerving, bereft of the hesitation that marked our first meeting, I am pleased. The time has come for you to begin a new stage in your training. Now, what sets the axe aside from the gladius or the dagger? It is the raw, unstoppable destruction wrought by its thick, heavy blade. And that overwhelming power can only be properly directed by extraordinary physical strength. Thus, we come to the core of this day's lesson. Such strength as a Marauder must possess is developed through a traditional method passed down through the generations of the guild. A method that you too will be taught to employ. Present yourself to Brunvar in the practice area downstairs, and he shall instruct you further. I guess we go down here. See if I got better gear here right now. Except for that dumb ring. We definitely need a new glamour for this. It's god awful. Let's do that one. That looks suitably warriorish. The Axemaster told me you'd be on your way. My name's Brunvar. Good it is to meet a new marauder. Now, we axe wielders build strength and control by splitting boulders. That's right, a traditional method involves smashing a rock with your axe. But you can't use just any old swing. You need to hit the rock just so. Rock Guy, my fellow marauder, is waiting just outside the Zephyr Gate by the bridge over the Rogue River. She'll show you how it's done. Okay. I'm going to go to Hawker's Alley. And look up these fish quests. I'm going to go buy up these fish. So I can just do these quests back to back to back. Now we bought up some fish. At a very expensive rate. Let's go to the Fisherman's Guild. Sisabu, the Princess and the Fish. For your next lesson, Sisabu would send you off into the wild. What's that in your eye, Gav? I know that glimmer. It's the eye of the fisher. It's the thrill of the bite, rising up to the challenge of our rival. It's a play on the Eye of the Tiger song, which is a really good song. Really good song. Keep that spark alive, friend. You don't want to end up like Wawalago. Not that I'm worried about you. Oh yes, I can see it. There is a fire inside you, burning for fish. More fish. Bigger fish. It is time to feed that fire. Today's the day you catch your first big one. No one ever forgets their first. Journey forth to the banks of the Nim in Middle Lenosia. There you will find her, the Princess Trout. Take the princess and return here a man. Her Royal Highness is drawn to crayfish balls. Certain gear bonuses grants bonuses to your perception. Greater perception raises the probability of catching a larger fish. Although fish can be of different sizes at the time they are caught, all fish of the same type become identical items once in your inventory. Alright, you'll find the Princess Trout in the Nim River, Gav. Don't forget to take your crayfish balls. Well, we got one here for you. Depending on your perspective, you've either rescued or abducted the princess. Wawalago says, a prim and proper princess she is. We'll ready her as a royal roast, a feast fit for a king. The king can keep his fancy feast. Any fisherman worth her salt prefers her trout prepared simply. Wawalago said like a surly, salty-mouthed sea hag. Hand her over here and heed how the cultured classes cook. Sisabu says, a fine day it'll be when I take culture lessons from you. Besides, I didn't send Gav out to that river to fetch a fish for you. I sent him out to fetch a fish for me. Ahem. For my lesson, that is. Yes, of course, that was the purpose of the expedition. Anyway, as you should have learned, catching a proper fish requires perseverance, plain and simple. And this plump Princess Trout can testify to that. Good God, these tongue twisters. Continue to apply the lessons I've taught you, and before you know it, you'll be swimming in fish. Doesn't that sound appetizing? Sure. Kind of like that straw hat. I don't actually need any of these, but, I've got far better gear because I've leveled up my fishing to, like, level 76. Okay. Every fish has a silver lining. Sisabu could use a helping hand with an unexpected order. I've been thinking, Gav, now that you can catch more fish than you can eat. It's time you learned a little about the art of fishmongering. Normally, customers purchase fish that have already been caught, but a certain Quaikern sailor has a penchant for freshness. Unfortunately, the fisherman who usually fills his orders have all, somewhat ironically, gone fishing, and so I turn to you, Gav. I'm hoping you can talk to Chuchuroon over there, or at least listen to him. Chuchuroon the sailor sailed the seas. You the fisherman fish the fish? Looking out as lookout. Chuchuroon spots in water. Jumping silverfish jump, flashing silver flashes. Chuchuroon wish to taste silverfish taste. Chuchuroon pay good silver if you fish 5 good silverfish. Well, Chuchuroon has a way with words, doesn't he? Unfortunately, his way appears to be repeating the words silverfish. Only the most experienced fisherman would be able to decipher that nonsense. This sounds like a job for Wawalagos, since I'm busy doing his job. Rest assured that what he may lack in sense, he more than makes up for in nonsense. I love these fisher quests. They're really funny. Since when is it civil to sneak up and scare your seniors? I suddenly suspected Sisyphus sent you to slit my stomach. That woman is well aware of my weakness. If she's going to shout about the way I shove down shrimp, she should know better than to leave them showing on the shelf. Or is that not why you're here? Table setting aside, I'll bet you shells to shellfish I know what the Quikern spied. If it was silver and sauntered while skimming the sea, I'm somewhat certain he saw a navigator's dagger. Daggers don't lend themselves to a Laminzen's liking, but the settlers of the southerly isles stir them into soup stock. You can find them by the brewer's beacon. Snaring one is a slippery sleight for a starter, but a flitting flick of the fist for a fisherman with a gull's eye like you have. Oh my god. The alliteration. Now, daggers are drawn to decoys that dangle, so do yourself a favor and fetch some rat tails for them to flash their fins at. Alright, so since we already bought them on the market. Chuchuroon. You fish and catch 5 fish catch for Chuchuroon. These thin, long saltwater fish will oft jump out of the water and glide for yalms across the surface using their pectoral fins as ersatz wings. The shiny shine, the smelly smell, cannot wait to tasty taste. Sisyphus says, well, it looks like we found the fish you were after. You fine find. Maybe Chuchuroon season with season or smoke with smoke. Maybe grill on grill. Many cooking options for cook. Sisyphus says, my, you're certainly putting a great deal of thought into this. Chuchuroon. Ha ha ha. Chuchuroon gifted to feast on feast gift. Best Chuchuroon regard you with Chuchuroon's best regards. Sisyphus says, we're always grateful for your patronage, Chuchuroon. Please see him out and return here afterwards, Gav. We've more to discuss. We've made Chuchuroon happy. Whew, I'm glad you were here to handle that sudden request. So many of these freeloading fishermen can't be bothered to stay ashore for more than a day at a time. You, on the other hand, have proven far more reliable. I can think of at least one Quikern who'd agree. Now that you've seen how rewarding fishmongering can be, I hope you'll take the initiative to try it yourself. I have all of these items, so I'm just going to take the bronze pieces. A fish in hot water. Who would teach you the advantages of fishing without live bait? You might recall Chuchuroon, the babble-spewing fish connoisseur. Perhaps not, but he certainly recalls you. Apparently, there aren't enough fish in the sea, so he's set his sights on freshwater fish. He even tried catching them himself, though that's proved problematic so far. While Quikern possess a healthy appetite for fish, they lack the necessary patience and often end up eating their own bait. The problem has a relatively straightforward solution, employing a lure in place of live bait. Unfortunately, this straightforward solution requires a roundabout demonstration, as Chuchurun does not readily accept the concept of inedible bait. If only you might snag 5 warm water trout with crow flies, he might come to see the light. The fish are said to populate the shores of Oakwood in Upper Lenosia, though I can't say I've been recently. I consider it inauspicious to cast one's line under the watchful gaze of a giant sea serpent. Alright, deliver warm water trout to Chuchurun. How can Gav bait fish without bait? Warm water trout. This freshwater fish was once found only in the waters heated by the flows of lava coursing beneath the mighty volcano Ogamuro. After the calamity, however, fishers began finding the wavekin in other warm locations such as Thanaline. You truly fish trout using fake food? Sisyphus says, indeed. For all the fish know, the lure might as well be live. You have skillfully used them to lure these tasty tasties. You see, Chuchurun, deception lies at the heart of fishing. Chuchurun, yes, lies lie at heart of fishing. Chuchurun no fool, Chuchurun fool fish. Sisyphus says, precisely. Well, I trust that we've managed to lure, guide you to the path of self-sufficient fishing. I got all these too, so I'll take the bronze pieces again. A game of cat and fish. Sisyphus would have you learn a new technique. You're familiar with the Culinarians Guild, aren't you, Gav? If you couldn't tell by its supercilious name, their members are a finicky bunch, particularly the fussy master Lingsgath. Lingsath. So, when he comes asking for shadow catfish, no other fish will do, even if I kindly explain that fishing one out involves an arduous journey to Fallgrid Float, followed by grueling labor. Naturally, I thought of you for the task. Naturally. It's a lot of work, so we'll send you. This will likely require a bit of fish wheeling, if you know what I mean. Though I imagine you do not, as I just invented that word. It means recasting a fish you've just caught as bait for a yet larger fish. In my wisdom, I have deemed that your fishing prowess, land-faring acumen, and physical presence directly in front of me qualify you as the ideal candidate for the job. I have no doubts you'll be more than amply capable of fish wheeling or any other new terms I see fit to conjure up, for that matter. Simply use crayfish balls to catch a striped gobby, then recast that to catch the shadow catfish. Take it from the inventor of fish wheeling. Since the striped gobby will become your lure, you'll want to catch the biggest, shiniest one you can find. A long journey lies ahead of you, and I fear the guild will not be the same in your absence. However, I choose to think of it not as losing a friend, but gaining a shadow catfish. Good luck! Okay, fish wheeling, or mooching as it's more widely known, involves catching a large fish and then recasting your line with the fish still on it in an attempt to land even larger prey. A high perception rating will increase your chances of catching a fish of a large size. You'll find a catfish you seek at Fallgrid Float in the North Shroud. Mayhap it's a tad presumptuous to say you will find one, but that's where they are at any rate. Alright, what's that? A shadow catfish. A large whiskered fish that can be found in the calm marshes of the Black Shroud. Lingsath ought to crack a smile when he glimpses this beauty. They say never to look a gift fish in the mouth, but one can't help but stare at the gaping grimace. It looks like it could swallow a person whole. I'm sure the fish of Gridania are none too displeased to see this one leave the water. I heard that Yarzons covet the fish too, sometimes migrating north and attacking fishermen in hope of stealing the catch. Suppose I should have warned you about that ahead of time. Still, I don't see what all the fuss is about. For all the lengths one need travel and dangers one need brave, the fish taste little better than mud. Wawalago says, pardon me, but perhaps I might persuade you to prepare them in a proper bath. Water washes off the waste you can wipe away, but the invisible vapors only vanish with vinegar. You must mind the mud you can't see. Sisyphus says, speaking of the mud you can't see, where did you come out of all of a sudden? Wawalago says, a good guildmaster gusts in and goes out a gale. Now you see me, now you don't. Sisyphus says, actually, I think we both still see you standing right there. But that is neither here nor there. Yeah, there are a few fishermen who could haul in a catch like you did today. Frankly, I've started to wonder how we ever got along without you. These fishing quests are really charming. Like fish passing in the night. It's got to play on like ships passing in the night. Sisyphus would have you attend to another incomprehensible customer. The catfish you fetched for Lingsath has raised quite a stir. He was so pleased with the quality and quickness of the delivery that he's been raving about you to anyone in earshot. And now the word swirling around limbs of a fabled fishman has reached the ears of your fellow guildmates. Though most of them have no idea who you are, it doesn't stop the lazy sunbathers from fabricating folk stories about you. Meanwhile, Chuchurun's done his part to add to your fame, singing your praises well beyond the walls of the guild. So, well beyond the walls, in fact, that goblins have come to enlist your help. Tactix is a friend of Chuchuran's, so we're somewhat obligated to hear him out, though I don't expect him to be much more intelligible. Loath though I am to admit it, we'll most likely need Wawalago again. Alright, speak with Tactix. Chuchurun told many glory tales of mighty Fishbringer to Tactix. Okay, Chuchurun told a lot of stories. Tactix is friend. Chuchurun is friend. Fishbringer is friendly friend, yes? Moon was shining on easter seas of Lanosia when most lovely fish appeared. Tactix wonder if friendly friend Fishbringer can bring back lovely fish from Moonsea. You're Tactix's new friendly friend. So, a goblin gets a glimpse of some gills and I'm to guess the game? Haha. Naturally I know what you need to net. I'm only surprised you saw fit to solicit my support. The moment you mentioned the moon on the easter seas of Lanosia, I figured out the frisky fish you're fixing to fetch. These tongue twisters, man. Full moon sardines. Schools of striplings migrate under moonlight through the Strait of Marathor to return to their mothers or meet their makers. Tastiest time to take them too. Pluck them plumb in their prime. From dusk to dawn, droves dip and dive down Bloodshore. Spinning spoonworms in the water will snag you some sardines and sate your sponsor. Oh my god. Whoever wrote this, I want to hurt in the most gentle way possible. So, you can't say threats on the internet. You got to be really careful about that. But these tongue twisters are painful sometimes. Shuck. A 10 fish of moonful is for TikToks? Yes, yes it is. I paid good money to avoid fishing those. Yes, Fishbringer has brought lovely fish from Moonsea. Ah, first eye catch of lovely fish is still fresh in the brain case of Tactix. Tactix has dreamings to taste lovely fish. Friendly friend Fishbringer has made true Tactix's big dreams. You've made my dreams come true. Glory tales of Chuchuran are no silly babble. Fishbringer is Fishbringer of fairy legends. Tactix, make sure every gobby knows Fishbringer fairy legend. No, please, no. No. That'll just mean I have more work to do. Sisyphus. Congratulations, Fishbringer. Fame with fast-trading goblins is liable to bring you fortune. Although you might want to find a less pungent title so as not to drive away other prospective patrons. But what's in a title? That which we call a fishbringer by any other name would smell as sweet. Let's play on a line in Romeo and Juliet. A fish out of water. Sisbu would send you to Thanalan to aid Tactics once more. Your goblin friendly friend was looking for you earlier. He was hoping you'd make his fishiest fantasies come true. I don't want to know. He recalled a dish that tickled his fancy some years ago and now needs you to procure the necessary fish for him. The desert catfish, as it is apparently called, is indigenous to, and this is the truly mind-boggling part, the desert of all places. Tactics spoke of a trapper named Ugoramuli who'd fished one out of Forgotten Springs in the southern reaches of Thanalan. If you want that catfish, you'd best go and speak with her. Do I have the desert catfish? Yes, I do. Okay. Go to Forgotten Springs. Imagine that you can find a desert catfish in the desert. Ugoromuli, friend of Tactics, you say? Sure. Dune fished my fair share of desert catfish. Never eat them, though, know that much. Only ever use them as sandworm bait. Thought of eating desert catfish hasn't occurred to me until the goblin devoured it before my eyes. Still wouldn't touch them myself. Different fish for different folk, as they say. No problem fishing them out, though. Can't even tell you how it's done. Just come down to the right bait in the right place. Nothing to it, really. Easy as dropping a line with some sand leeches at the fish knoll east of Byragot Strike, near the Amalja encampment. Not the same as sea fishing here in the dunes, mind you. Real test of your reel out there. Trick is to hold on when it flails. Only takes one to make a day's haul. Good hunting. Alright, back to Linza. Alright, here, Tactics. Fishbringer find tasty fresh fish cat in sandy lands for friendly friend Tactics. Desert catfish, a large variety of air-breathing catfish. Its near frictionless scales allow it to, quote, swim through the desert as a normal fish would through the water. Shop Tactics is Thanksgiving to Fishbringer for lip-smacking fish cat. It says, thank you for getting the catfish. Fish cat nose strings make for strengthful satchel strands. Yeah, I use the nose strings. I use the whiskers for satchel strings. Tactics trades tongue flaps with Lingsath for fancy cooking of fish cat in Bismarck. Lingsath only fancy cooks after shoplock because of strengthful fish cat odor. Fishbringer makes Tactics one happy gobby. So he brings it to Lingsath to cook. Lingsath says, only after hours, because it stinks. Alright. Trying the angler's hat. Doesn't float my boat. I'll take the silver pieces. Collecting a bunch of bait. Fishing in the rain. Sisbu would have you assist her with a request of some importance. Just the fisher I was hoping to see. Uncanny timing, as always. The celebrity you've achieved has resulted in more obscure requests than I know what to do with. Your dune fishing escapades in particular have raised eyebrows. The truly eccentric were requests I've seen fit to turn away, but who can say no to the Bruguier Consortium? I, for one, cannot, but perhaps you'll have something else to say when you speak with Sybil. She's waiting for you outside the guild. Ah, Gav, I take it. The legend said you were rugged, but failed to mention how delectable you are as well. Oh my. I wasn't aware that we were going to be going on a date while fishing. I have no doubt that our time together will be advantageous to us both. To business, then. I want you to bring me rain callers from Gridania's jadeite flood. However, there's a catch to this catch. The rain callers spend most of their time lying dormant on the bed of the water, active only when the rains come. Keep an eye to the skies. You'll need the fish to be aroused so that they'll bite at the bait. Stem borers are most effective, or so I am told. As to why we want them, well, the fish are prized by wealthy Uldans for possessing certain properties. And I can only guess what properties. And it is the custom of the Bruguiere Consortium to fulfill unconventional needs and desires. 5 rain callers are all we require to satisfy these aristocrats' needs. Okay. Oh, wait. I think we got the... Alright, we don't have the rain callers. We have to go to the jadeite flood. Let's go to New Gridania. You can also catch him in the Whispering Gorge, apparently. And of course, it's sunny out. All right, let me look up a fishing hog. FF14 Angler. FF14angler.com. There's also, for ocean fishing, Lulu's tools. If you just Google LULU''S tools. Some people say it's a little outdated, but for ocean fishing, it's great. I don't feel like it's outdated yet. Select fish. What's the name of this fish again that I gotta get? Rain callers. Okay. Alright, apparently when it's foggy out, you have better luck. Or raining. Alright, cats and kittens, we are back. I had to go server hopping to buy some of these fish. Because I didn't want to go out and fish them myself. You can go fishing yourself. It's probably the least expensive way to do it. If you need to buy the fish, double check, what's the name of this site? Universalis.app, universalis.app, universalis .app, and that is a place where you can check the server, any item in the game. Basically, you can check and see how much it costs, and it'll tell you the lowest price on each server. So, and you can separate it by server, you can separate it by data center. I separated it by data center, and I just stayed on my home data center to make transferring easier, because otherwise you have to log all the way out, and it's kind of a pain. Anyway, so Sybil says, bring us 5 rain callers from Gridania's jadeite flood. We will make it worth your while. I bet you will. Rain callers, deep blue freshwater fish native to the lakes and swamps of the Black Shroud. They can be seen sticking their heads out of the water whenever it rains, leading people to believe it is the fish summoning the storm. However, naturalists have surmised that the fish are simply rising to the surface in search of food, mistaking the drops of water for insects. I knew you were the right lad for the job. Who else could deliver such rare and virile specimens? These will suit the Uldan's purposes quite well. The elder males have been led to believe that ingesting the rain callers will endow them with, let us say, vigor. No one knows whether it is true, and I don't personally care to find out. So it's like fish Viagra. I only know that rich men will stop at nothing to recapture their former glory, and so these fish should fetch a fair price at market. Speaking of fetching, I'm quite impressed with your handiwork, Gav. The consortium will be pleased. Of course, you've pleased more than just the consortium. I look forward to seeing more of you. Oh my god. Let's take the silver pieces. It's so bad. I have a fan already. Alright, Sissy Boo has another one. I believe fish can fly. I believe I can fly. It's based on that song. Sissy Boo wishes to assign to you another commission from the Brugere Consortium. Oh, so you haven't forgotten the old Fisherman's Guild? Good to see that all the prestige and glamour that accompanies fishing stardom hasn't gone to your head. It's a wonder your head hasn't popped, what with all the sardine and catfish fables inflating your legend to prodigious proportions. And to think I knew you when you were still dredging anchovies out of the muck. Rest assured that whatever greatness you go on to achieve, you'll always be the sorry scrap of kelp that floated into the guild one fateful day, as far as I'm concerned. Now go speak with Sybil and see to her request. Didn't you notice her waiting for you outside? Alright, Sybil. Sybil, our flirtatious maiden from Ulda. Ah, Gav, the libidinous lords of Ulda were terribly excited by the rain calls you reeled in, sending our profits soaring accordingly. And so I come to lay yet another challenge before you. You have conquered the waves and dunes, but what of the clouds? Only you are heavenly enough to fish the cloud cutters that swim the low skies of Ishgard within the sea of clouds. I, too, doubted my ears upon hearing of such a fish, but Carvelane's resolve was adamant, and he will hear no protest. Besides, I've never been one to say no. I bet you haven't. Luckily for us, the Brugere Consortium has friends in high places, namely the Highlands of Kurthus. You'll want to seek out Firminant at Whitebrim Front. He will tell you all you need to know. Confident you will prevail in your conquest, I have rendered full payment to Sissipu in advance. You need only bring her 5 cloud cutters to satisfy me. Alright, we gotta speak with Firminant at Whitebrim Front, so let's go over to Camp Dragonhead. Firminant, greetings, traveler. Visitors from Limbs the Lemons are rare to these climes. I'm told you seek to fish the magnificent cloud cutters that grace the Sea of Clouds. As squires, we practice catching our dinner, but the task is trying for even the most experienced among us. How one unaccustomed to the chore might hope to succeed where so many accomplished fishermen have failed is beyond me, but mine is not to stand in the way of foolhardy endeavors. The fish float upon inflating pockets of vapor, allowing them to ride currents of air. They are thus able to escape predators and take refuge in the clouds. Moreover, an aerial fish requires an aerial worm, in this case, hoverworms. Such is the extent of the knowledge that I will confer upon you. I fear the remainder is a matter of experience and skill. I should wish you good luck. You will surely need it. Alright, back to Sissipu. Aw, she's not out there before I could talk to her. So, you're to pluck 5 cloud cutters from the skies of Kurthus. Are we certain these aren't birds? No, the swiftest inhabitants of the Sea of Clouds, cloud cutters will fly straight in a single direction for malms before quickly turning at some unthinkable angle and darting off in another new direction. The troubled cloud cutters. It turns out they weren't birds after all. Just like jellyfish, they jump, jerk, and jolt to jiggle themselves up. Well, speaking of things that float around aimlessly, Wawalago says, Ishgardians consider the cloud cutter a crest of class and character, and confer them to commemorate and congratulate countrymen who commit conduct a cut above the clouds, if you will. Sisbu says, I won't, but what use could it be to Carvalane? Wawalago says, local lore alleges that a legendary Elezen in Limsa Laminza is actually an Ishgardian lord. I wonder what you'd do if it were Carvalane. Sisbu says, I would do what I'm going to do anyway. Deliver the fish. Alright, we don't need any of this because I've got better already. So I'm going to take the Allegan gold pieces. I'll offset what I paid for these fish. So long and thanks for all the fish. To play on a novel title. Sisbu needs their help with an emergency. I gotta wonder what you think a fish emergency is. Gods, this is unbelievable! According to the age-old adage, when the going gets tough, the tough go fishing. Unfortunately, the adage is of little use when the tough going happens to be a fishing ban. You haven't heard, have you? Einzar Slafferzin has closed all docks and ports for fishing vessels on the authority of Admiral Merlvid. Some sorry sailor supposedly spotted a serpent at sea, and so Slafferzin stated that for our safety, all our services must cease. It's all so frustrating. Well, we may be a group of sedentary fishers, but we're not about to take this sitting down. First, we'll need to know what we're up against. The Brugier Consortium maintains ties to the Maelstrom, so Sybil may know something we do not. It is time to go fishing for information. Yep. All right. Speak with Sybil. She outdoor. Oh, here's our best buddy. It's certainly a pleasure to see you again, though I wish it were under happier circumstances. The news came as a shock to us as well. And Ilum Minson, who's ever boarded a boat, has heard the tale. Back when the world was naught but a dry, lifeless rock, Limlayan created a giant serpent. From its massive maw, the creature spat forth water until the land was filled. But it would not stop. To prevent the world from being completely submerged, the navigator trapped the serpent in a floating island with the warning that if it were ever to be freed, the seas would rise until the world ended. This is from where the Thalassocratic motto, till sea swallows all. This is from where it comes. You can imagine the Admiral's surprise when learning a sailor claims to have actually seen the serpent in question. While you and I may recognize it as a fairy tale aimed to scare children, the panic in the streets is real, and so Slafferson hasn't any choice but to take drastic measures in order to maintain the peace. Regrettably, these drastic measures have dire consequences for both your guild and my consortium. And the Maelstrom is too occupied with ship inaugurations to conduct a proper inquiry, meaning our only hope is to take matters into our own firm yet supple hands. Ahem. It may be impossible to prove the sea serpent does not exist, but perhaps the testimony of the eyewitness could be impugned. I believe you have met the sailor responsible for the sighting, the one known as Chucharoon. Of course we have. Chucharoon. Chucharoon see big fish at sea. Some see sea serpent. Chucharoon just want fish to fish. See fisherman Wawalago about fishing fish in sea. Okay. Does she have anything else to say? Unless we can disprove the existence of that serpent, I fear this bodes ill for Limsa. Wawalago says, I've seen enough at sea to know when sailors are seeing things, and what Chucharoon saw was no sea serpent for sure. Missing your marks will make mountains out of molehills. Distances deceive and delude the minds of men at sea. My money says your serpent is a Maslea marlin, a fairly big fish, but by no means a monster. You can see them barreling back and forth along the north of Bloodshore. But if spied from the shore, people will just shrug their shoulders. You need to make them meet that marlin up close and personal. I'll admit it's easier expressed than executed, and I've never nabbed one. If you don't loosen up your line, they'll rip your rod right out of your hands. But first, you need a bite. They won't waste their breath on worms from other waters. Maslea marlin demand mooching. More familiar to you as fish wheeling, perhaps. No, really, it's known as mooching. And not just any mean act of mooching, but the daunting duty of the dramatic double mooch. I reckon you're ready for it. Get a gobby ball and haul in a harbor herring. Once you've hitched your herring, offer it up to an ogre barracuda, then bait that beast to make the Maslea marlin bite. Makes me want to sail out myself, but Slafferson would slay any guildmaster who slights him. Besides, I'm sure Sisyphu would sooner see you succeed at it. That's right. Gavtia, sexy fisherman. I can't believe we're reduced to this. Still, while Wabalago's never been right for running a guild, he's never been wrong about fish. He says their serpent is a Maslea marlin, then that's what it is. Maslea marlin, a large saltwater fish found in the warm waters south of the Sea of Ash and known for its remarkable swimming speed. That's the marlin? I can see how some might mistake it for a monster. Hopefully Slafferson will see it the same. Come, Sybil arranged for us to meet with the Grand Storm Marshal. Einzar Slafferson said, so many moons has it been, I can scarcely remember the last time I boarded a merchant ship for anything other than an inspection. Quite comfortable indeed aboard the luxurious fleet of the Brugere Consortium. No doubt to put crooked mongers and traffickers at ease while making illicit deals at sea. Sybil says, oh, perish the thought. We would never dream of calling the Grand Storm Marshal to a vessel where such roguery took place. Slafferson says, shame. I'd imagine those sorts of vessels were the most fun. I suppose we'd then best tend to business. Of course, sir, says Sybil. Sisyphu says, allow me to introduce you to you the Maslea marlin. Einzar says, great Limlane's ghost. That blary thing is massive. However did you catch it? Oh, I suppose that doesn't matter. At any rate, it is your contention that this marlin is our sea serpent? Wabalago says, you can sing yourself to sleep with that silly sea serpent story, but it still won't hold water. Sisyphu says, I knew things were proceeding too smoothly. You always know just the wrong time to act the guildmaster, don't you? Slafferson says, never you mind. I've known Wawalago long enough not to mind his manners. Unlike his fish, I know when I'm being baited. Lago says, boy, you've been baiting and bullying us with your ban. Will you let up and lift it? Einzar says, a fine question. To lift the fishing ban or to not lift the fishing ban? What to do, what to do, what to do. On one hand, I could lift the ban, but on the other... Sisyphu says, now who's the one baiting? Why not? Of course, there are formalities we must observe, so I'm afraid the declaration will have to wait till tomorrow. Sybil says, and the ban will be lifted, won't it? Einzar says, unless you prefer it weren't. by no means. It's just, I feared that simply bringing you a large fish might fail to serve as adequate evidence in overturning a formal military promulgation. Sliferson says, well, I never really believed in all this sea serpent silliness in the first place. It was more about putting Lominsen's minds at ease than anything else, and the marlin you brought me should accomplish just that. A few of our more paranoid conspiracy theorists in the Maelstrom alleged the serpent to be part of an elaborate Sahagin plot, so this should make for a nice laugh at their expense as well. And to think this all started because someone spotted a large fish. And because fishtails are wont to grow in size, the large fish became serpent-sized and then ceased to be a fish altogether. Makes you wonder about what other sorts of overblown fantasies we've all been led to believe. Sisibu says, it sounds like you were ready to lift the ban whether we brought you the marlin or not. Oh, if only it were that simple. A fine Grand Storm Marshal I would be if I went lifting bans willy-nilly without any evidence the problem had been solved. This marlin is essential to assuaging the irrational fears of the public. Well, then I suppose Gav's efforts weren't for naught after all. I only wonder how the fishtail grew out of proportion in the first place. Wawalago says, I don't delight in delving into details, but that deed might have been my doing. Sisibu says, why am I not surprised? Wawalago says, when I mentioned it to Chuchurun that the Maslaya Marlin was a monster, I meant it metaphorically, but mayhap he misunderstood. Einstein, I think it would be in the best interest of all involved if I don't hear any more of this story. Maelstrom expresses its gratitude for your efforts in bringing this evidence to light. Your guild will be notified when the fishing ban is formally lifted. I bid you good day. Oh, Lord. Terrifying to think a little exaggeration can get out of hand, particularly when you consider how often fishermen exaggerate. But it sounds like Slafferson knew something was fishy all along. Nevertheless, you saved our guild from destruction at the hands of an imaginary sea serpent. Funny how Nimlika delivered you to our doorstep just when we needed you most. And I certainly can't consider you a guppy anymore now that you've caught a marlin the guildmaster himself never quite reeled in. I'd say we name you the guildmaster, but then Wawalago would have nothing to dodge, and I'm not ready to let that fish off the hook so easily. But I suppose you could at least let him know he has a rival. And that might be your finest fishing accomplishment of all, luring Wawalago back to work. Okay. I have plenty better than this, so... This concludes the Fisher quest for A Realm Reborn. In order to undertake the next series of quests, you must first meet the following requirements. Completed the main scenario quest before the dawn, which we have. Once you've done so, the next Fisher quest will be available from Sisibu. Plenty more fish in the sea. Sisibu has a rod in her hand and a cloud on her brow. Well, if it isn't my old friend Gab, and not a moment too soon. Not that I don't appreciate your company or anything, but I need you to go and deliver something for me right away. Wawalagos had a visitor, you see. Not only did the poor fellow have to put up with our... Not only did the poor fellow have to put up with our dear guildmaster blathering on about who knows what for hours on end, but he left his rod behind as well. Would you mind taking it back to him? If it was just the rod that was at stake, I'd get that lazy guildmaster of ours to take it back himself, but this fellow's a master fisherman who's traveled to every corner of the world. According to Wawalago, he knows all about these secret fishing spots that aren't on any of our charts. Hence why you're the man for the job. Not only can you be trusted to get his precious pole back to him in one piece, but you can have a chat with this chap and learn something useful in the bargain. Wouldn't do for our guild's angling ace to fall behind on his studies. Mayhap he'll tell you about some far-flung fishing holes that even the famous Wawalagos never heard of, and you'll be able to test your mettle against a whole new kettle of fish. The fisherman you're looking for is an Elizan fellow named Anselm. He's staying at the Drowning Wench. If you hurry, you should be able to catch him before he heads off on his travels. I don't think we're going to get through all of the Heavensward quest version. Because some of these I actually have to go and catch myself. They're only available when you have that quest available. You can't buy those off the market board. So we're going to go up through that quest. Or as far as we can go. Here's Anselm. Well, it's time I was on my way. Another pint of Baderon's Peculiar, and I'm like to fall asleep in the snow. Oh, hello there. Is there rod I can assist you with? Forgotten rod, a dark stain situated at the lower end of the weathered rod, suggests that it has been someone's tackle of choice for quite a long while. Goodness, is that my rod? I left it in the Fisherman's Guild, you say? Dear me, I was having so much fun catching up with my old friend Wawalago that I forgot all about my most faithful companion. I thank you for coming out of your way to return it to me. Are you a member of the guild then? I don't recall seeing your face down in Fisherman's Bottom. You are? Good show, lad. It's always a pleasure to speak with fellow fish fanciers. So, tell me, what's been your biggest catch so far? The marlin, probably. You caught a Maslea marlin? Hold on a moment. You're not Gav, are you? The fellow who lifted the fishing ban and saved the guild? Wawalago told me all about you, and in the most glowing of terms. It's a pleasure to have met you, Gav. I wish I could stick around and chat, but it's past time I was heading home to Ishgard. If you're ever in the area, you must come and visit me and tell me all about your adventures in angling. Like as not, you'll find me in the Forgotten Knight. You could say he's the Drowning Wench's long-lost lover. Drop in whenever you like, and I'll give you a guided tour of some of my homeland's best spots to drop a lure. Till then, Gav. Okay, let's go over to Ishgard. Anselm is here. Gav, you come. Gav, you came. Warm welcome to Ishgard. Well, as warm as it gets up here anyway. So, are you ready to learn all about my favorite fishing holes? It'll soon be the end of the stormy season in Kurthus, so we'll be able to fish to our heart's content without being frozen solid. Come back in a little while and I'll show you some of the perfect places to catch the finest fish in the north. Alright. Alright. Anselm is eager to share some exciting information with a fellow fisher. Good to see you, Gav. I've got some news for you that I think you're going to like. Have you ever heard of a fish called an ice pick? Not only do they have a kick like a Mylodon and the wits to give any fisherman a challenge, but cut them into goujons and fry them until they're golden, and they're just the thing to take away the taste of Gibrion's best brow. Well, a shoal of the beauties have been sighted in a fishing hole I know in the western highlands of Kurthus. Let's head over, shall we? I'll meet you by the northern entrance to the Falcon's Nest. Alright. Does he have anything else to say? Meet me by the northern entrance, and I'll show you where the fish can be found. My mouth's watering just thinking about them. She's not dressed for Kurthus at all. We have a gal named Reyna. There's There's something awfully fishy about you. Could it be? Are you a fellow fishing fanatic? An angling apostle? An aficionado? That is so bad. Such a bad pun. I love it. Anselm says, Gav, you're finally here. I was afraid I'd missed you. To tell the truth, this young lady and I have just returned from the fishing hole. I'll explain in a second, but first, allow me to introduce you. Gav, meet Reyna, a fellow fishing enthusiast. We only just met ourselves. She was just passing by when I spotted the rod strapped to her back and introduced myself. Reyna had heard about the ice pick sighting too, and well, after a bit of mutual rod rattling, we decided to have a little competition. I'm sorry we didn't wait for you, but you know how hot-headed we fishers can be. Of course, I wish I had waited now. By the time I'd managed to catch my first decent-sized ice pick, she already had a brace in the net. How embarrassing for you, and in your own stamping grounds, too. Why, I'd never been to that fishing hole before in all my life, yet the fish were practically throwing themselves out of the water for me. Anselm says, kick me while I'm down, why don't you? I demand vengeance, Gav, and who better to deliver it than the gentleman Master Wawalago called the absolute apex of the angling art. So, the absolute apex of the what now? The apex of the angling art. The perfect piscator. The finest fisherman in the firmament. He was talking about you, Gav. If there's anyone who can wipe that smirk off Reyna's face, you can. The pond where you'll find the fish is off to the north. Cross the bridge and keep going till you reach the Gorgania holding. You should find it easily enough. It's the only stretch of liquid water in Malms. Reyna caught 2 ice picks, so you're going to have to catch 3. Okay. Fishing hole where we found the ice picks is up in the Gorgonia holding. Just head north, cross the Black Iron Bridge, and you'll be there. And it caught 2 ice picks, so you're going to have to catch 3. I'm counting on you, Gav. Ice picks, freshwater fish adapted to survive in the cold waters of Kurthus. It earns its name from its long, beak-like mouth. Three ice picks and every one a beauty. How do you like that, Reyna? Who's laughing now? What? I can't believe you beat my record. All right, I'll admit it. You're a better fisherman than me and thrice as good as Anselm. I may have lost the contest, but it's been wonderful to meet you both. I thought I was the only one who spent her days traveling the realm, taking on what jobs I can to fuel my fishing habit, but now I know there's at least 2 more Epicureans in the world. He says, "So, you're a real angling addict, are you, Reyna? No doubt you could tell us some tales about that would set our fish-fancying hearts aflutter." Reyna says, "Oh, of course, it's the least I can do. The winner of the competition should have a reward after all. Now, I don't know if there's any truth in this tale, but there's a certain story doing the rounds in Dravania that you might find interesting. Not so very long ago, there was a chocobo hunter who found a wounded fish on the shore of the Sea of Cloud. It was a Moogle spirit, known to fishermen the realm over as the Manta of the Skies. The hook was through its lip, an unattended rod lying at its side. The hunter took up the rod and freed the fish, but as soon as he did so, the spirit scooped him in its fins and swept him away to an island above the clouds. Not knowing where he was or how to get home, he dropped the line into the clouds while he waited for rescue. Within moments, there was a jerk on the line, and he pulled up a strange fish covered in spines. A few more minutes of fishing, and he had enough of the things to spell out help in Cloudkin. His message was spotted by a passing airship, and the fellow was saved. Well, what do you think? The chocobo hunters tell it to their children as a bedtime story, but I've got a funny feeling there might be more to it than that. But anyway, I can't stand around chatting while there's work to be done. If that story tickled you, why don't you go and have a look around the Sea of Clouds? If you're lucky, you might catch a few of these helpful fish yourselves." These strange fish the chocobo hunter pulled from the clouds. I think I might have an idea what they were. The Ishgardian nobility used to harvest them for their poison. So much so that they drove them to extinction. Or so I thought until now. Here, Gav, take some of these. The noblemen used to bait their hooks with these red balloons to catch those fish. If the creatures really are still around, chances are their tastes haven't changed. Balloon bugs spend their lives in the skies, but they make their nests in the earth. If you should need any more of them, a friendly botanist or miner should be able to dig some out for you. But anyway, thanks for today, and you really saved my skin. If Reyna had won that contest, I don't think I ever would have lived it down. I'm heading back to the night to celebrate. See you again soon, Gav. We got plenty of these, so I'm gonna take the pieces, gold pieces. I don't know what they are. I've now acquired the skill of cloud fishing. Cast a line into the clouds and see if anything bites. All right, made level 78. All right, where do we got to go for that? Oh, this is Invasion of the Supper Snatchers. Okay, let's go back to Foundation. Anselm. He's on the lookout for a suitable substitute. Evening, Gav. You're just the person I wanted to see. I'm sorry for foisting this on you without any warning, but could I ask a favor of you? You remember that girl, Reyna? The one who you beat in the fishing contest? Well, she sent me a message saying she needs an experienced angler to come and fish her out of a spot of hot water. She's been trying her hand at a little chocobo hunting over in Dravania. She doesn't go into the details, but it seems some problems cropped up that only a master fisherman can solve. I'd go and lend her a hand myself, but I've got some business of my own to tend to that's going to keep me in the city for the foreseeable future. Sorry to drop it in your lap like this, but would you mind heading over in my place to see what's going on? The chocobo hunters work out of an outpost in the Dravanian Forelands, Tailfeather they call it. Thanks for taking care of this one for me, Gav, and pass on my best wishes to Reyna, won't you? Now let's talk to Reyna at Tailfeather. Oh, there she is. Says Sten. Finally, you made it. Thanks for coming, Gav. Hold on. Where's Anselm? Isn't he with you? Didn't think he was up to the challenge, eh? Well, at least he had the good sense to send along a suitable replacement. You're thrice the fisherman that Great Galoot is, and it's angling talents I need to get us out of this mess. For the past few years, I've been coming here to Tailfeather for the start of the hunting season. It's dangerous work, but it has its rewards. Why, just a couple of weeks? Chocobo hunting can keep a girl in balloon bugs for the rest of the year. And after a long day's hard work, there's nothing I like better than to head to the riverbank and catch a few carp for the hunter's supper. Problem is, someone's let a school of carnivorous catfish loose in the river and they're running riot. At this rate, they'll have gobbled up every fish in the river before the season's out. I've convinced the hunters to try to catch these monsters before it's too late, but they've had no luck so far. It's no surprise, really. Half of them don't even know which bit of the tackle to throw in the water. That's where you come in, and I need you to help me catch a few of these whiskery invaders and show those hunters how it's done. What do you say, Gav? If my master plan works, it's not only the future of our fish suppers that'll be saved for posterity, but the chocobo hunt itself. After all, you can't catch chocobos on an empty stomach. Isn't that right, Stenny boy? Looks like Stenny's away with the fairies again. I had better stay here and keep an eye on him. We wouldn't want him doddering off into the Willem and giving those nasty catfish something meatier to wrap their teeth around. You think you could put my plan into practice yourself? The hunters I sent to catch the catfish should still be upstream somewhere. Just follow the water to the north and you're sure to bump into them sooner or later. They might not have caught any of those pesky pescatarians yet, but like as not, they'll know where to find them. Speak with the tail feather hunter. Okay, let's flying up there. Oh, the tenors in this choir. Wow. I mean, all of the voices are great. Man, the tenors just knock it out of the park there, guys. Great music. Tailfeather Hunter. Well, I'll be if it ain't that fish arena's been going on about. The absolute apex of angling, or what have you. It's going, I don't know what the hell that means. If you're half as good as she claims, we'll have these horrors sorted out in no time flat. These shadow whiskers are eating us out of house and home. They ain't native to the area, see? Some lunk-headed hunter decided to bring them in special when no one was looking. Set them free in the river. Do you know why he did it? To make the chocobos think twice about crossing the river, so the lazy beggar didn't have to hunt so far. As if some fish is going to scare a 10-foam racing bird. The shadow whiskers have put the fear of gods into all the other river dwellers, though. The fish would have been here all along, just ain't quick enough to escape them, so the monsters are having a field day. Proper gorging themselves, like. We've tried all we can to fish them out, but the slippery beggars just won't take the bait. They head down the river to hunt, but most of them are holed up around here in the basin of the 100 Throws. It's the big ones in the best nick that are the most trouble. If you could show us how to go about catching them, we'll take care of the rest. I reckon 3 big ones should be enough to teach us the knack. The fish themselves you can give to Reyna. I'm sure she'll find some use for them. Alright, let's go back to Reyna, since we magically caught them off the market board. How's the Shadow Whisker hunt going? It'll take every trick in the book to lift those monsters out of the water, but you know the book backwards, right? There we go. A large freshwater fish found in the 100 Throws. Wow, you did it! I knew I could count on you. And the chocobo hunters saw everything, did they? The lure you chose, how you set your line, the flick of the wrist that set the hook. Excellent. Now that they've seen how it's done, you can leave the rest to us. We'll have the Willem back to its good old self in no time. One good turn deserves another, but I've exhausted my supply of fascinating fishing stories. How about you, Stenny boy? Any exciting tales of angling and adventure to tell our good friend Gav? I've got a story for you. Scared the crap out of me. Long ago, when me granddad's granddad was but a boy, he met with his traveling trader who come over from the Far East to flog his wares. Among this merchant's stock was a bucket of wiggling red worms that seemed to glow with heat. Naturally, the boy asked him what they were all about. "Them's magma worms, my son," the merchant said, "or some such far eastern patter as makes no difference. Back where I come from, the fisherfolk used them as bait. Hook 'em to a steel line and drop 'em in a volcano, and you'll pull up fish the like of which you've never seen." "Of course," he said, "it's a dangerous game, fishing in a pool of molten rock." One false move and you're coming up crispy. Still, there's many back in the East who risk life and limb to make it their business. We call them the famous hellfishers, or so my great-great-granddad was told. What a story, Sten! Could there really be fish that live in lava? If there are, I want to catch one. Sounds like we'd need some of those magma worms, though, and I can't say I've ever heard of them. Maybe Anselm will have an idea where to get hold of them. He's traveled all over the world, right? He's back to... Right, you want to be a famous hellfisher as much as I do, don't you, Gav? Perhaps Anselm will know where we can find some of those magma worms. Okay, let's go back to Kurthus. Or, Ishgard. So I think if I do 2 more fish runs, I will be in great shape. Welcome back, Gav. Judging from that satisfied smile on your face, I'd say you've managed to solve Raina's little problem. I knew you could do it. You have something to ask of me? By all means, fire away. Fire away. Red glowing worms? You're not going to believe this, but I've got a few of these magma worms of yours right here in my pocket. Really? A pair of adventurers were in here earlier, the botanist and a miner selling their diggings. I bought a few regulars off them that fit that description. It's amazing, the coincidence. It's almost as if somebody wrote it into the quest. I thought they might make decent fishing bait, but it seems they're not cut out for the cold. As soon as they hit the water, they turn hard as a rock. Maybe they fare better in the heat. Here, consider them your reward for taking care of that business with Raina for me. If you're thinking of trying your hand at this hell fishing game, Dravania is your best bet. There's a string of volcanoes in the Forelands, up where the dragons dwell. Just promise me you won't go getting yourself killed, alright? Right. I've got these items, so I'll go for the silver pieces. I've acquired the skill of hell fishing. Cast a line into the lava and see if anything bites. Anselm would engage your assistance in a matter of life and death. Ah, Gav, your timing is impeccable as ever. Listen, we've got a bit of a problem here, and I'm going to need your help to get it sorted out. This gentleman here is an old friend of mine from back home in the domain of House Rougecarp. I've known him since I was a boy. The problem is, home isn't looking so homely anymore. It all started when the Lord of Rougecarp Manor passed away. By all laws and customs, control of the estate should have passed into the hands of the elder of his 2 sons, but the fellow is away on his travels right now, and has little interest in returning to the estate. Of course, until he officially renounces his title or turns up dead, someone has to take charge of the house's affairs. Hence, his younger brother, the late Lord's 2nd son, has assumed control as Lord Regent. But the boy is a dunder-headed fool. Where his Lord Father was well respected by the small folk for his just and generous rule, this egotist rules only for himself, terrorizing the populace with increasingly outlandish demands. Take my friend here. For many years he has worked as the manor's head chef, feeding that monster from the day he slipped the breast, but even that hasn't been enough to spare him from his new master's spite. The Lord Regent plans to hold a banquet to welcome an envoy from the Holy See, and has demanded to be served a platter of letterpuffer, a fish that has been extinct for years. And should my friend fail to provide the fish, his head will grace the platter in its place. I cannot let him get away with this. Ugh. There's nothing for it. I'm going to have to. Unless... Might there be another way? Gav, I beg you, could you catch one of these letterpuffers for me? It's a matter of life and death. The creatures may have been fished to extinction in Ishgard, but there's still a chance they survive to this day somewhat further afield. If only we knew more about their movements, we must needs speak with someone who has an encyclopedic knowledge of the migration habits of cloudfish. I know. Sissipu. While Wawalag was out fishing, she's always got her head in an almanac. Maybe she'd know where to find them. Elderly Elizan says, "My life is in your hand, my lord. If there's any help you can offer me, I'd be most obliged." Anselm says, "If it's a letter puffer the Lord Regent wants, it's a letter puffer he'll get. But he won't get away with threatening my friends. By the time I'm finished with him, it is he who shall be the endangered species." Letter puffers have been long extinct in Ishgard, but there's always a chance some survivors might have migrated further afield. If anyone knows where to find them, I'm much obliged for your concern, my lord. This realm could do with a few more young people like you. Speak with Sisabu in the Fisherman's Guild. Well. Look what the catfish dragged in. It's nice to see all the fame and fortune you've found as a master fisherman hasn't stopped you paying your old instructors a visit. What can I do for you, Gav? You want to know about letter puffers? Then you come to the right place. When you went to Kurthus, caught those cloud cutters, it made me realize the guild was lacking in its learning about cloudkin, so I bought up every book I could find and read them all from cover to cover. Letter puffers are a type of flying fish that are packed to the gills with a potent poison. Slice out the venom sac and their meat makes for a tingling taste sensation, but a prick in the wrong place and you won't be leaving the latrine for a week. As for their migration habits, I'm sure I read something. Ah, yes, westerlies. Whenever the weather vane swung to the west, the Ishgardian nobles would go out in force to catch as many as they could. And they caught a fair few, all right. By all accounts, they fished the poor puffers to extinction. In Ishgard, anyway. Could be they still colonized the clouds farther west over Dravanian territory. Try asking around over there. Someone might be able to tell you more. Ask the residents of Mogholm for information. Alright, we gotta go talk to somebody in Mogholm. Ah, now we can go get this thing now that we have flying unlocked. Mogholm, a settlement that sits curiously atop Al, the tallest peak in Eorzea, in the heart of the dragon's domain. A pact might the Mughals have made with the great worm Hraesvelgr to allow them to live here in peace. I don't know, maybe Hraesvelgr got tired of him. Said, okay, you can have the place, but just leave me alone. Mogto, you're looking for a letter puffer, Kupo? Then Moguk's the Mughal for you. He's a dyed-in-the-fur fishing fanatic, Kupo. One time he was out among the floating islands for so long, by the time he thought of heading home, they'd all moved around and he couldn't find his way back. So, do you know what he did? He got his rod out, started fishing again, Kupo. He was here in Mogholm not so long ago, but he flew off to the north. He's not the fastest flyer, so if you leave now, you should be able to catch up with him. Good luck, Kupo. Kupo-popo! Stay away, Kupo! I've got a rod and I'm not afraid to use it. Hold on. What's that appetizing aroma? You look like a Makote, but you smell like a fish. Who in the world are you? You're a fellow fisherman looking for a letter puffer? Well, why didn't you say so, Kupo? Any angler obsessive enough to come all the way up here just for a fish is a friend of mine, and I think I've got some good news for you. Those letter puffers are alive and well, and they're right here in the churning mist. Why, I caught one myself just a few moons back. It looked so delicious, I ate it up right there and then. Never again, Kupo. Those fish aren't just toxic, they're tricky too. I've only ever managed to catch the one, and even that was an accident. A terrible bowel-twisting accident. If you do manage to catch a letter puffer that's fit for a banquet, I'd like to take a look at it. Those letter puffers live around here, but they don't often show their faces to fishers, Kupo. If you do manage to catch one, I'd like to take a look at it. Here we go. A highly poisonous fish commonly found floating in the skies near the landlord colony. Kupo-po-po-po! You're a fantastic fisherman, Gaff. I never thought I'd see one of those letter puffers again. And it's such a big one, too. Fish like that would make a banquet fit for a king, let alone a Lord Regent, Kupo. Just make sure the chef removes the insides first. You don't want to end up with letter puffer poisoning. Trust me. I never thought my fur would ever be this white again. Oh my. Still, I'm glad I got to see one again, Kupo, and since you're such an accomplished angler, I'll let you in on a little secret. There are fish living in stranger places than this. Long, long ago, Kupo, there was an empire who had such mastery of magic that they made a whole continent rise up into the skies. The people who put it there might be long gone, but the island's still up there, and it's full of fish. Some of the magic has spilled out onto the surface and formed into strange etherochemical pools. Rumor has it that the fish in the spills feed on fiend worms, but I don't know if that's true. Maybe the Moogle who told me was just pulling my pom-pom, Kupo. If you ever find your way up there, you should try your hand at ether fishing, Kupo. Who knows what fantastical fish might be waiting for you in those pools? Let's go back to Ensemble. If you hadn't seen, I tried multiple times to jump up onto that vista. You know, and I'm sure there's some way to jump to it, but after a few times I just got frustrated. I went, I'll just wait until I have flying. Much obliged for your concern, my lord. The realm could do with a few more young people like you. Alright, let's talk to Ensemble. How was the hunt for the letter puffer, Gav? I've asked around the city, but nobody's seen spine nor scale of one for many years. Maybe they really are extinct. You really caught one. Good gods, Gav. You're incredible. With this fish, you saved my friend's life. Here you are, chef. One fresh letter puffer. Just be careful you don't cut open the venom sac while you're preparing the platter. We'll be wanting to save the poison for the Lord Regent's portion. Don't worry, it won't kill him. It'll just lay him low for a few days. And if you're afraid of arousing his wrath, then don't be. Just slip away as soon as the food is served and come to me. I'll protect you. Thank you, my lord. I do believe you will, but it's not only I who needs your protection. Your people are suffering, my lord. You must come back and claim your rightful inheritance. Hey, I thought I told you to keep quiet about that. Well, it looks like the curl's out of the bag, so to speak. I don't suppose there's any reason to hide it from me any longer, Gav. That so-called Lord Regent who's terrorizing the small folk, he's my younger brother. Ever since he was a boy, he dreamed of one day taking control of House Rougecarp. He knew that I stood to inherit, and he hated me for it. That's why I went away, so that my brother's dreams could be realized, and I could devote my days to fishing, free from the burden of lordship. But thanks to my brother's folly, that dream is over. My friend, I've made my decision. No longer will you have to suffer at the hands of that tyrannical fool. This time, it is he that shall suffer. Thank you, my lord. The small folk will be glad to hear of it, I'm sure. I'll start spreading the word that you're coming back to us. It'll give them the strength to put up with your brother's demands a little while longer. Rougecarp. Well, I think we've heard quite enough of my family's problems. Now, Gav, tell me all about how you caught that letter puffer. Magical pools on floating islands? If even half of what that Moogle told you is true, you're sure to find some pretty bizarre specimens there. I wager you're dying to try your hand at this ether fishing, Lark. And it just so happens that I've got a few of these fiend worms he spoke of right here. Don't look so surprised. He might be the better fisher, but nobody can best me when it comes to collecting bait. Now, get yourself to that floating island before I collect him back. I don't know which one to take. I'll take that one. You've now acquired the skill of ether fishing. Cast the line into the pool of etherochemical effluent and see if anything bites. Anselm is agonizing over how to reclaim his birthright. Gav, how have the fish been biting? I've had so much on my platter recently. Well, with all the preparations to return to my ancestral home, I haven't had much of a chance to... Oh, hello, Gav. I'm glad you're here. There's something I need to speak with you both about. It's your brother, Anselm. He asked me to assassinate you. Oh, don't worry. I told him I wouldn't do it. After all, if I killed you, who would I beat in our little fishing competitions? What in the world are you talking about, Reyna? I know full well why my brother would want me dead, but why would he ask you to kill me? I told you what I do for a living, didn't I? I travel the realm, taking on what jobs I can to fuel my fishing habit. What kind of jobs did you think I was talking about? Anselm says, chocobo wrangling, basket weaving, mayhap a few short stints as a bar wench? Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that one of my fishing friends was a professional assassin. Well, it's true. I specialize in taking down my marks with poison arrows. Remember how you had your brother eat that letter puff for poison? Seems he's keen to give you a dose of your own medicine right in the heart. It isn't just revenge he wants. He's afraid of me. That's why he's been making unreasonable demands of those who knew me well, driving them from their homes, threatening them with death. He's trying to get rid of all who might oppose his regency. Well, as long as he's focusing his efforts on harming me and not my people, I can rest a little easier. There's just one problem that remains to be solved. Reyna says, sorry to burst your bubble, Anselm, but it's not just you he's planning to harm. I happen to overhear that he's planning a new irrigation project on your house's estate. At least that's what he calls it. All he's actually going to do is fill in the fishing ponds just to spite you. What? That lowlife can order my friends to put poisoned arrows in my heart all he likes, but I'll never forgive him if he dares to damage my family's fishing holes. Gaff, we haven't a moment to lose. Will you lend me your aid to cast out my brother? There's only one way that I can be sure of claiming my inheritance. I must present the Rouge Carp ring, the ancient treasure of my house, passed down from father to son since time immemorial. Unfortunately, I dropped it in the sea of clouds. But there may still be a way to reclaim it. As I watched the ring descend into the mists, a cloudfish flew by and swallowed it whole. The ring is highly distinctive, a blood-red jewel with the image of a leaping carp, the sigil of my house, intricately inlaid in silver. If anyone was to catch the fish, the tale of the ring's discovery would surely spread far and wide in cloud fishing circles. Gaff, mayhap your Dravanian Moogle friend might have heard aught about it. Pray, go to him and ask about my ring. It may be my only hope. You know as well as I how fishers are wont to boast about their catches. Finding a fish with a ruby red ring in its belly would make quite the tale, don't you think? Mayhap our Moogle friend in Dravania might have heard aught about it. I could never bring myself to assassinate a fellow fisherman, no matter how much I'm offered. We'll be fishy friends till the fishy end. Speak with Mogok to the north of Mogholm. I needed a few nonsense quests to do this week. Kupopo? You're looking for a ring, Kupo? It wouldn't happen to have a shiny red jewel with a picture of a fish on it, would it? How convenient. Why, yes it is. Mogok knows all about it, Kupo. A few weeks back, I was filleting one of the fish that I'd caught for my supper. I've learned my lesson about eating fish whole, when a ruby ring fell out of its belly. Seeing how shiny it was and where I found it, I thought that someone must have been using it as a lure when their line snapped. I never realized it was an ancient treasure. If I had, I wouldn't have. The truth is, I don't have it anymore. A few days ago, I was fishing from a floating island. Before I knew it, I drifted all the way to the Abalathia, Kupo. There was a big birdman there who was fishing in a little pond, and one thing leading to another. We decided to have a bit of a contest. A competition that I lost, Kupo. If I'd known he was such an expert fisher-bird, I never would have wagered the ring, I promise. Will you tell Anselm I'm sorry? Alright, back to Ishgard. Obviously, if you want to learn more about fishing, it's probably a good idea to, you know, go actually do fishing. Except I've fished for him on my main. And it could take some time, so I didn't want to take the time today so it's just easier to buy him off the market board. And you certainly could do that. What in the world? Maka caught the fish that swallowed my ring? What a stroke of luck! If you see your Mugo friend again, tell him that he has nothing to apologize for. Thanks to him, we know exactly where to find my ring and how to reclaim it. The birdman who won it from him can only be a Vanu Vanu, and if the fellow likes to gamble, all we need to do is challenge him to another contest and win it back. Let's head up to Camp Cloudtop to see if we can find this famous fisher bird. Are you heading to Camp Cloudtop then? Anselm and I will meet you there. If that Vanu Vanu who has my ring is still in Abalathia, the knights at Camp Cloudtop should be able to tell us where to find him. Come along, Gav. Let's head up there right away. Carpe Diem is the name of the quest. Oh, nice. Carpe Diem is Latin for seize the day. About the closest thing to it is like Nike's Just Do It. Wow, what a view. The nobles have hit the jackpot here. Anselm. Gav, you made it. I've just spoken to the knights in Camp Cloudtop, and they think they know the Vanu fishermen we're looking for. Apparently they often see him fishing on a floating island away to the east. However, the way they tell it, we might have some difficulty getting there. You see, the island the birdman likes to fish on isn't connected to the mainland. The only way to get to it is by flying. Anyway, let's head over and take a look for ourselves. Oh, and here, take this rod. I made it myself. The Vanu Vanus aren't known for their hospitality, but a gift like this will surely stoke the fire of friendship in the heart of any fishing enthusiast. Alright, so we gotta fly. You can't do this quest until you have flying available in this zone. Because you have to go to an island that is inaccessible except via flying. Or, you know, have somebody fly you over there, I suppose. That's certainly doable. Tonavanu. Who are you and why you disturb my peace? Netherling appears from nowhere like sudden squall from cloudless skies. A rare and unwelcome occurrence. Polished rod, judging by its otherworldly smoothness, one might assume Anselm spent at least 3 or 4 months polishing this fine pole. Or 3 or 4 moons. Moons, months, same thing. What a handsome rod. It shines like summer sun. Netherling honors Tonavanu with excellent gift. What can Tonavanu offer in return? Netherling desires return of Rougecarp ring. Netherling asks much of Tonavanu. Tonavanu wins that ring fair and square. If Tonavanu returns ring, he returns to Moogle, not to Netherling. That is, if Tonavanu can return at all. In truth, Tonavanu has ring no more. Tonavanu uses ring to fish for bullfrog. But as soon as bullfrog bites, big cat killer comes along and strikes like lightning, ripping away bullfrog, lure and all. What is matter, Netherling? Tonavanu sees storm clouds gather on your brow, as if your face comes on to rain. Why you want red ring so? Evil man with icy heart threatens to destroy fishing holes? Netherling is true friend of fish to sadden so. And any friend of fish is friend of Tonavanu. Tonavanu helps you catch cat killer and get ring back. First, Netherling needs to catch big bullfrog. Bullfrog is cat killer's favorite food. Use big bullfrog to lure to catch cat killer. Cat killer that swallows Rougecarp ring is fierce like raging tempest. Netherling will know it when Netherling sees it. Tonavanu smells Netherling's friend watching on mainland. He sweats more than Moogle in noonday sun. When you catch big cat killer, better take it to him straight away. All right, well, we caught it. Just as there is no rainbow without rain, so there can be no cat killer without bullfrog. If Netherling catches big bullfrog, then throw it back in water. Cat killer will bite. Netherling's friend is nervous about finding ring. Tonavanu hears his heart, even from here. It flutters faster than Tonavanu's feathers in a thunderstorm. When you catch big cat killer, better take it to him straight away. Okay, deliver the cat killer to Anselm. Alright, he's just up top there. Reyna, I don't know which I'm more excited about, saving Anselm's small folk or meeting another aficionado. I think she's fishing for a laugh. We've come all this way to the Sea of Clouds, and we've finally tracked down the Vanu fisherman who has my ring. The rest is up to you, Gav. All my hopes and dreams rest at the end of your line. All right, we found the cat killer, a large freshwater fish found lurking in the floating Abalathian lake known as the Eddies. That is a big fish. Tonavanu, like summer sky after rainstorm, it is clear to Tonavanu that this is the fish that swallows your ring. Netherling is shining example to all fishermen, like bright ray of sunshine that pierces clouds. But enough talk of weather. Let me pierce fish instead. The Rouge Carp ring. Anselm says, the very same. The treasure that will secure me my birthright and let me take my rightful place as head of my house. My brother isn't the type to go quietly, but this ring should be enough to silence him. I shan't let him terrorize the small folk any longer. I suppose my lord won't be going on any more fishing trips in the near future, then? You may be right. If all goes to plan, I should be able to spare my family's fishing holes from my brother's wrath. But I doubt my new lordship will leave me much time to enjoy them. Tonavanu says, do not wilt like flower in drought, noble lord. Just as a hurricane has its eye, so the most demanding duty has its moments of peace. Whenever you find yourself in such a time of calm, let the easterly breezes blow you back to my island. You may use it as and when you wish. Anselm says, truly? You would allow me the use of your fishing hole? You too are a friend of fish, and any friend of fish is a friend of Tonavanu. We are brothers in fins, and even the wildest whirlwind could not tear that bond asunder. Tonavanu's fishing hole is yours to use as you please. Tonavanu only asks that you let him visit your land sometime. A lord who likes fishing so much must have some secret holes of his own, yes? You'll let me fish in your fishing hole so long as I let you fish in all of mine? You drive a hard bargain, Tonavanu. Well, all right, but if you want to keep your presence in Ishgard a secret, we're going to have to get you a change of clothes. Oh, I want to try out your fishing holes too. Hurry up, Anselm. The quicker you boot out your brother and reclaim your lordship, the sooner we can go fishing. Anselm, you make it sound as if it's a foregone conclusion. Even with the Rouge Carp ring on my finger, my brother and his cronies aren't like to leave without a fight. Maybe many a moon before I can undo the damage my brother has done. Oh, stop your grumbling. You've got the ring back, and Tony here has given you permission to use a secret fishing hole. What have you got to complain about? I don't know, just, dealing with a, you know, assassin-seeking brother. Just get back to Ishgard and kick out your brother before he ruins your estate. Not only for the good of your small folk, but for the benefit of fishing fanatics everywhere. Particularly those directly in front of you. Anselm says, you're right. If being granted the use of a fishing hole of such outstanding beauty will not only give me the strength to oust my brother, nothing will. Gav, I thank you. For years I dreaded the day I might have to end my travels and assume my lordship. But with friends like you, I know that it need not be the end of my adventures. The next time we meet, I shall be Lord Anselm de Rougecarp, and I'll challenge you to a rematch. Oh, let me join, too. We can hold the next contest down there. It's such a peaceful place, you can forget about all the worries of the world and focus on the fish. Tornavanu says, indeed, just as a balmy breeze blows these storm clouds from the skies, so the eddies clear the sorrows from your soul. It is truly a fisherman's paradise. I've learned patience too. This is all the Fisher Quest for Heavensward. Alright. Let's go back to Linza. Hello, cats and kittens, we're back. Took a little break to do some ocean fishing, and that's not compelling entertainment unless you love ocean fishing, so I skipped that. Whither Wawalago wanders. Master Wawalago's dubious deportment of late has Sisipu duly distressed. Ah, Gav, just the man I wanted to see. It's about the guildmaster. He's been acting a bit, wait for it now, fishy of late. Oh, so you ask? Well, first of all, he hasn't been seen chasing skirts at the wench for nearly a whole week now. What's more, word has it, he's been skulking in and out of the city at the strangest hours, tiptoeing around as if he's afraid of being seen. It's not like the man ever does any work around here, but he is the face of the guild. It wouldn't be good for business if he got himself caught up in anything untoward. Next time you're down in Fisherman's Bottom, mayhap you could pay him a visit, see what's what. Oh, what is Wawalago up to? Well, bash me in the head with a bucket of barnacles if it isn't Gav, the second most skillful fisher in our fair realm. To what do I owe the pleasure of your presence today? Sisipu's on to me, say. But how could that be? Is it possible that I'm not as sly, stealthy, and surreptitious as I thought? Probably not. Don't answer that. Old Wawalago's adult enough to admit it when he's been apprehended in the act. Fact is, I've found a new friend who's been picking my brain for advice regarding a particularly puzzling predicament. Truth be told, I was just thinking of tramping over to the God's Grip to meet him now. I think he'd also be agog to make your acquaintance as well, if, of course, you wouldn't be averse to accompanying me. Well, I suppose that settles it. Just do your friend Wawalago one favor, stop by the guild and tell Sisipoos there's no cause for concern. And, don't mention much more than that. Girl's got enough gnawing at her mind with guild going on, I reckon. Alright, Sisipoo says... So Wawalago says he's fine, but says he can't, or won't, say any more than that. Forgive me if that doesn't particularly inspire me with confidence. Well, if nothing else, I suppose he'll have you around and make sure he doesn't get into anything over his head. You will keep an eye on him for me, won't you? Of course you will. Over to God's Grip. Ah, there's the destination marker. It's, you can hardly see it in the grass here. It's kind of hard. It's difficult to see. My goodness. Ah, there's the lad I was looking for. Now all we need to do is find... Shh. Wabalaga, what is the meaning of this? Who is this strange shorewalker? Get a grip now, Gav. This is Gav, a fast friend and one of the most accomplished anglers in Eorzea. I reckon he'd be just the person to help me puzzle out your little predicament. This is Gav. We met fishing, or rather I was doing the fishing and he was more accidentally attaching his lower lip to my lure. Accidentally attaching his lower lip to it. Gav's reaction. I can tell what you're thinking. A fisherman and a Sahagin make for bizarre bedfellows, and it's true, we were tearing at each other's throats at first. But once we delved into a discussion of our love for the ocean deep, we became keenly conscious of just how much we have in common. You see, Gav here is searching for a stunningly spectacular specimen of fish, which has distressingly disappeared from the seas of Lenosia. The shooting star of the sea, that's what the Sahagin have termed it in their tongue. Gav says that seeing whole schools of them sail through the sea with their scintillating scarlet scales is a spectacle of blissful beauty. It's a sight all the more precious because of their penchant for only appearing in particular seasons. Gav reckons that they're a roaming species that migrates after mating season to lay their eggs and nurture their newborns. At least they were, before they just packed up and puttered off to who knows where. Gav here isn't going to take the matter reclining on his rear. Gav says, "Psh, my clutchmates insist that it is simply the way of nature, that the fish have simply died out or found a more desirable habitat. This I cannot accept. And so I embarked on a journey. I scoured the far reaches of the realm's seas, where the shooting stars once appeared in abundance, and I found a single fishing line with an inviting lure at its tip. The next thing I knew, I was reeled in by Master Wawalago here. At first, I was ready to gut him for having stolen such a beautiful creature from us, but he assured me that he had done nothing of the sort. Agonizes me to admit as much, but to tell the truth, I've never even laid my lookers on one of those shooting stars. But if they're half as handsome a sight as Gov says, it'd be a sorry shame if we swallowed his supposition of their demise without doing our due diligence. At the same time, I'm the guildmaster, and I can't very well go gallivanting off to every far-flung frontier of the realm while Sissipu does all the dirty work. So I've decided to avail myself of the aid of my most astute assistant. That'd be Gav here. Forgive me if I am skeptical, Master Wawalago. While I know your own knowledge of the seas is second to none, I do not know this shorewalker from the scales on my back. Give me one good reason why I should trust him. I'm telling you, Gav's as fine a fisher as anyone I've ever had the pleasure of calling my protege. Housed in his head is every piece of Piscine lore and learning you could fathom. If anyone can find this fish of yours, it's him. If you would speak so highly of him, then I suppose I have no reason to object. And with that, I will return to the search. There you have it, Gav. Ready to rove and ramble the seas of the realm in search of this slippery shooting star? Because I most assuredly am. But first, I'd best make a brief and fleeting foray back to Fisherman's Bottom. Sissipu's likely to get suspicious if I sneak away for much longer. Alright, let's go back to Emza. Alright, let's go to the Fisherman's Guild. We're gonna pick up the next one, I think, but we won't be able to do it right now. Because I would have to go fishing, and that one can take a little while. So, and that's the last one we can do before I get farther into Stormblood anyway. Because the next area is in a region I haven't even reached yet. So we'll save it for another time. Ah, there you are, Gav. We can exhale easy. I'm pleased as punch to say I slipped back via a side street, and Sissipu was none the smarter. On the subject of Sispoo, I've been meaning to explain and elucidate just why I'm so worried of telling the girl the truth behind this latest little lark of ours. Don't tell the dear girl I divulged this to you, but truth be told, her village was set upon by a suitably savage group of Sahagin when she was just a little lass. I'm sure she and Gav would get on great if they got to know each other, but for the time being, I'm disinclined to dredge up any disquieting memories. You understand, yes? And so you'll be dealing with me directly for this particular duty. Firstly, I intend to do a little investigating into what this so-called shooting star is called in the common tongue. In the meantime, might I propose that you treat yourself to a soothing spot of fishing? Yes, you can. Oh, we got some more survival manuals. That's cool. The next Fisher quest will be available from Wamalago upon reaching level 63. The requirements for undertaking subsequent quests can be reviewed in your journal. Alright. On fishing. Oh, nice. Enhanced GP regeneration. Good. That'll make the next fishing voyage at 7 o'clock my time. Better. Okay. Alright, let's go back to the Marauder. Axe in the stone. Greetings, lad. Ready to spill some stone, are you? I have 3 nice hard rocks for you to build up a sweat on. Don't try fit nothing fancy now. Just hit him with a good, solid, heavy swing. Okay. Ooh. Take out the bee cloud while we're at it. Alright, you need one more bee cloud. It's right over here. Alright, Ragheim. That's the way to do it, lad. Now you got the idea. Why don't you have Adam a little harder with that heavy swing of yours? Hold nothing back. Alright, now we gotta hit 3 more rocks, I guess. Oh, Aurelier, okay. You can do the Aurelier over this direction. Oh, we kind of entered it automatically. I don't know if we'll get it done in time. Oh. A little over our heads here. Alright, now we're level 7. So, see if we can get some more gear on. I can see you're a natural. Me head's still ringing with the sound of cracking boulders. Take yourself back to Axe Master Virenzoon and let him know you're ready for something harder. Hey. Has the training loosened your muscles and focused your mind, Gav? An urgent request for help has arrived from the Red Rooster Stead, and I have chosen you to respond. It appears a hostile group of megalocrabs has unwittingly elected itself the next test of your prowess. Nice way of putting it. As this is your first outing on official Marauder duty, you shall be accompanied by a veteran conjurer by the name of Sulkvid. She awaits you on the floor below. May devastation follow in your wake. Nice. Hi, Gav. I know who you are. My brother often has me escort his fledgling marauders on their more dangerous tasks. I suppose Virenzoon expects me to give you the details then? Very well. It seems the farmers need us to clear out a megalocrab nest near the Morning Widow in Lower Lenosia. I shall trust you to find your own way there. Just don't forget your axe. Alright. Megalocrab nest. Looks as if nobody's home. Mayhap they knew we were coming. Aid! I need aid, says Neddard. Oh, please, it's my grandson. Them snippers got him. I told Sigurd not to get too close. I told him. Get that weapon ready, Gav. We need to move, now. Rescuing children, of course. Ah, it's level 9. Okay. Be a good test for us. Ah, bugger and shite! Get away from me, you bloody great bastard! Okay. Oh boy. We're getting the little guys first. Alright, duty complete. Thank you, mister. I thought I was dead for sure. I can't even play outside no more, not what with all these scary monsters about. Me ma and me da, they was both killed by some nasty bugger not so long ago, and our rocks, big as a mountain. But I bet you could beat it. Aye, make it pay for what it did to me folks. Soakfib says, you take it easy now, son. There's a whole guild full of strapping lads and lasses like Gav here who'll be glad to do just that. All you need to do is head home with your grandpa. You let us worry about that big nasty bugger. Consider your first duty a success, Gav. It's time you headed back as well, before Vermzone soon begins to worry I've left your corpse for the crabs. Alright. While we're out here, we could equip that bronze Labrys. Gotta get Mandragoras and Dodos. Moon sprites, nice. Nice, nice, nice. They were on our hunt log. Alright. There's Mandragoras over here. You gotta do your ether charge. That gives your gauge. Might as well use it up. Alright, what else we got out here? Middle Anosia, Lower Anosia, Cedarwood. Nesting buzzards. I'm sure we'll be back out here, so let's go turn these in. Welcome back, Kev. It appears your coordination with Carbuncle is progressing at a satisfactory pace. Shall we test your growing acumen with a more practical examination? Our work at Melvan's Gate requires us to inspect and record the contents of incoming cargo. To simulate such a task, I have had several crates transported to the cliff south of the Zephyr Gate. I want you to examine those crates and return the inspected cargo here to me. You would be surprised at the depths to which some merchants will sink to deter our customs agents from performing their thorough investigations. False bottoms, rotting foodstuffs, flesh-eating vilekin, I suggest you be prepared for any eventuality. South of the Zephyr Gate. It's like right outside the door. Practice crates. No cutscene. I am not a threat. Pray ignore my presence for the present and allow me a moment to cogitate. Oh, it's like, leave me alone for a moment, let me think. The reaction to my sudden appearance was within expected parameters, but I must admit I did not expect so proficient a performance against the enemies set against you. Yet, effective though your tactics were, I spied much room for improvement. As I watched you battle, the wheels of my mind whirled into motion, as they are wont to do, inventing other possible strategies you might have employed. It's like, really? That's all you have to say about this? No, good job done. No, I just thought of better ways for you to do it. Let's see, taking into account your current level of ability, factoring in the etheric constant, multiplying by the number of opponents, then applying your tactics to other potential combat scenarios. Oh dear. My calculations indicate failure upon encountering threat level 9,785. Well, we'll have to see what we can do about that. This is Clahia. Though the opportune window to do so has passed, I would nevertheless introduce myself. I'm Clahia, Melvin Gate Assessor. Acting Guildmaster Thubergeim elected me to oversee your training and provide any necessary guidance and instruction in the field of Arcanima. Or it could be Clahia, I'm not sure. Let's do Clahia. From what I have observed thus far, you have an admirable grasp of the fundamentals. I do, however, wish to confirm one small detail regarding your choice of arcane geometries. What factor most influences your actions during battle? I could say desire to outwit an enemy, potential for amusement. I simply do what feels right. I could do potential for amusement. Aha! Just as I predicted. And now I have the final element needed to perform another calculation. The probability of you becoming an Arcanist of note is 90%. Give or take 0.5%. Yes, the certainty is quite high. After all, I only know of one other practitioner who responded to my question in the same manner. It was the man who bestowed upon me this grimoire, the Guildmaster himself. While our inscrutable leader is, as I'm sure you've heard, on an indefinite leave of absence, he did leave us with his most notorious saying to date. Strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. No matter how gifted you and I might be, however, the instantaneous manipulation of reality that might cause us to suddenly become mighty arcanists is beyond our present abilities. Discipline and experience is the finest strategy in this case. I suggest you continue to focus on refining your aptitude with carbuncle. Mastery with an arcane entity will greatly improve your success as a wielder of arcanima. Here ends your lesson for today. Pray, return directly to the guild. I believe Mistress Stubergeim is awaiting some inspected cargo. And what of myself? I'm off to the fields, of course. The tactics I reasoned out earlier must be attempted in real-life scenarios. Theory is all well and good, but there is no substitute for actual combat. We will meet again soon. Bye-bye. All right, back to Linza. Ah, Gav, have you returned with the cargo? Practice cargo, wooden cargo crate used by Malvin's Gate to train new assessors. Okay. Yes, everything seems to be in order, relatively clear of blood and other gore. That can be something of a problem in our profession, you understand. I also had word from Clyhea regarding your performance. She seemed eager to continue your training. An odd lass, I'll admit, but the guild can boast no finer mind for tactics. You would do well to heed the instruction she offers, particularly that which touches on the diligent approach to our art. Did you perhaps notice the battered tome Clyhea carries? An initiate's grimoire has served her from the day she entered the guild. She has her reasons, but it's admittedly strange to see it kept all the way to her present position as Foreseer. I fear such an intense focus on Arcanima has led her to overlook other important aspects of life. As our master strategist guides your Arcanist training, I hope that you might return the favor and help to broaden her own perspective somewhat. But enough of such matters for the moment. You have done well this day, Gav. Continue your practice with carbuncle as Clyhea has bid. I will be here when the time comes for your next lesson. All right. We have all this. Actually, I can take the 10 pieces. So, you've shattered the shells of the megalocrabs and saved the day of a child into the bargain. Thus does our violent craft prove its merit. Well done, Cav. Though no longer a threat to the farmers, you should know that it is unusual for such crabs to be found so near the stead. By all accounts, the creatures were ousted from their usual feeding grounds by a more fierce beast. The beast of which I speak is a known terror in the lands of Lenosia, ever seeking to expand its territory, and that boy's parents were but 2 of the many victims to fall to its rampages. It is a threat that must be dealt with ere long. Do thoughts of vengeance flit across your mind, Vyav? Nurture those urges, but do not act upon them. This monstrosity is far beyond your present skills. If you would answer the lad's cry for revenge, then you must grow stronger. Becoming the rage behemoth this challenge demands. Okay, let's take some more tin pieces here. Alright, we didn't get into the MSQ, but I really wanted to get some of these fishing quests out of the way. I needed some fun today. It's been a long week, you know? Wanted to get started on some new jobs, so I have something always leveling as we go through the daily roulettes, which give tons of XP. And with 3 tunes nearing max, I wanted to get some new ones going. So, we will call it here for today, okay? Let's do our cat joke. What do you call a cat prom? A fur ball. Fur ball. What does a cat order at a bar? A whisker sour. Okay. All right. On that terrible cat joke note, we're going to sign off for tonight. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bells. You know what to do and when to do it. And Mama Cat Gamer is going to sign out. And you all have a great one, cats and kittens. Love your family, love your friends, love your pets. Have a great night.